Hi, my name's Adam Sykes, founder of SwiftCase, the professional productivity platform, and today I want to talk to you about how actually getting a good night's sleep can help you to be more productive. So, as a father of three and as a business owner, you can imagine that I probably don't get that much sleep. I'm up at night, I'm often woken by our baby who might be crying, they need an extra feed or whatever, or they just need comforting. So it's not unusual for my hours of sleep to be broken up. However, I've been in business a long time, and when I first started my business, I probably had less hours of sleep. Some days I'd actually work straight through. There's been at least a few occasions where I didn't sleep at all one night. I've even been out working in offices straight through the night with no sleep, right into another work day the next day. Now, I thought because, the classic thing, sleep is for the weak. So if you're sleeping, you're not working. If you're not working, you're not earning. Now, I couldn't be more wrong. And today I actually get more sleep because I focus on what matters, which is productivity, not hours worked. So if you think that you're staying up all night and you're being a great entrepreneur because you're working till 3 or you're getting up at 4 a.m, think again. Actually, what matters is quality, not just quantity of hours. So today we're going to talk about how you can change the way you work, think differently, and get a good night's sleep. So you may have tried some of these things yourself. I know I certainly used to. So I'd be drinking Coke all day, I'd be having coffees, I'd be eating sugar, I'd be trying everything to keep going. I tried all the techniques like having micro sleeps, working 4 hours, sleep apps, all these sort of things to try and get that extra amount of time out of your day to be able to stay awake longer. Caffeine isn't the answer. If you notice, if you start drinking lots of coffee, you start getting jittery. If you start getting jittery, you can't concentrate. So actually, you might be up longer, but you're not actually getting more done. The quality of your work suffers by the fact that you're having all this caffeine. So it's not a good idea to run your life off caffeine. So put that in the bin, stop drinking it. 1 cup a day, I like a coffee. 1 cup a day, 2 cups a day, that's great. But once you're on your 7th and 8th, you need to kick that habit. So you'll often find people will throw examples of you of successful people who run on short number of hours of sleep. So classic examples are Margaret Thatcher, who apparently only worked on 4 hours of sleep a night, and Thomas Edison, a very similar story, 4 hours of sleep at night. But if you actually read into what they did at other times of the day, specifically Edison, where there's more information about this, he actually had lots of naps. So he didn't just work off 4 hours of sleep a night. It wasn't just the case that he was up all night working. He made sure that he got those naps in between. And if that works for you, that's great. But it's not just 4 hours. Your body needs those your body needs those 8 hours of sleep, every night to repair, to recuperate, and to be ready for the next day. So most people in the UK work 5 days a week, 9 to 5. But actually, if you could work 7 days a week, you could actually add in another 133 days a year of work just by working those weekends. Now, if you work 14-hour days instead of 7-hour days, 7 and 8-hour days, and you're working the full 7 weeks of the year, you could add in a whopping 400 plus days a year of work time over the average worker. Now, who wouldn't aspire to doing that extra amount of work? Who wouldn't want to do that extra amount of productivity to grow their business? That's like nearly having that is like having more than 2 years in 1 year. That's excellent, but is that the full story? So the first thing you want to ask yourself is, why are you doing this? So not why are you staying up all night or why are you working on all these different projects, but why did you actually start your business? Was it to have no sleep? Was it to work weekends? Was it to do 14-hour days? Or was it something else? Was it something else that you wanted to focus on? Was it family? Was it, having a great time? Was it going and exploring or traveling? Did you think when you were starting your business, it meant that you were going to be up all night, working through the night, things like this? If it didn't, well, why are you doing it now? You need to find a way that the way that you're working fits in with your aspirations of what you wanted to do for your business. So when we're considering productivity of the number of hours that you're working every day, evidence has actually been shown that you only are productive for 3 hours a day. So if you're working 14 hours a day, 11 of those hours a day are not going to be your most productive. You're going to get diminishing returns as you go through the day. The longer you work, the less return you're going to get. So that could be because of two things. So either you just simply can't focus, or because of a thing called Parkinson's law, which says that the task that you're doing actually expands to fill the time that you've got. So if you give yourself 3 hours, you'll do it in 3 hours. If you give yourself 14, you'll expand the task in order to fill those hours. Another important thing to consider is, as you get tired, are you going to make more mistakes? If you're going to make more mistakes, are you going to have to do things again? So actually, by spending longer at work, by spending more time doing things, and pushing yourself, are you actually creating more mistakes that you then have to redo the next day, which makes you even less productive? So think about whether you actually are productive during those hours, 2, whether you're making the task expand to fill the time, and 3, are you making more errors? And if you are making more errors, are you making yourself more work and making yourself less productive? So going without sleep also has some health implications. So if you are going without sleep for extended periods of time, evidence shows it can lead to things like type 2 diabetes, to higher stress and anxiety. It can force you to want to eat more, so you put on weight, and putting on weight causes you to have other health issues. And once you start having health issues, you're not going to be your most efficient, either because simply you've got issues you've got to manage and you've got to deal with it, or you might actually be having sick days. And if you're pushing your staff to do more like this, they're less likely to want to come in when they're feeling ill because you've been pushing them too hard. So they're going to increase their sick days. And if you're not in, you're not doing any work. So pushing yourself to become sick because you're spending too many hours working instead of resting and recuperating in between each day, that's going to reduce the number of times you're actually in work. So actually it's counterproductive. So having less sleep also affects your mood and it affects your staff's mood. So studies have shown that if you've got a happy workforce, they're actually 12% more productive. And if you've got an unhappy workforce, they're actually 10% less productive than the neutral. So if you think about it, a happy workforce is 22% more productive than an unhappy workforce. And giving your staff a good night's sleep is one of the best ways to make sure that they're happy and that they're focused on the tasks that they're doing every day. So instead of working longer hours, work smarter during the hours that you've got. Use the right tools and the right techniques. Use the right apps, the right productivity software, so that you can maximize the amount of time that you've got during your day to do the tasks that you need to do. Don't just spend long hours doing repetitive tasks, making errors, making yourself unwell, driving your team to distraction by making them lose out on their sleep. So use the right tools rather than working longer. Work smarter rather than harder. And make sure that you maximize your productivity, not at the expense of a good night's rest. So hopefully some of these tips help you to stop thinking about how much you can stay up, how late you can work, putting in those extra hours. Sleep isn't for the weak, sleep is for the successful. Thank you for watching. My name's Adam Sykes, founder of SwiftCase, the professional productivity platform. Hope to see you again next time. And if you've got any comments you want to leave down below about how you get a good night's sleep and how some of these things might have affected your work, then please drop them below and we'll join the conversation down there. Thanks again, see you next time.